Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa. This is going to be the Creatures of the Night book tag created by Katie Tastic. And this is a tag where you recommend books that have each of these creatures of the night in them. So the first creature of the night is the vampire, and I want to recommend V by Aura Marquez. This one is about a Chicana vampire who is in her 40s when she's been changed, and so that's a little bit different for your usual vampires. And she has this interesting thing where she can tell who is her soulmate, and she meets quite a lot of them in this book, and she has this sort of deep emotional empathic sort of connection with them. Partway through the book, she gets recruited to join a secretive vampire group that is kind of the enforcers of the vampire world. They make sure that if anybody does anything they don't like, or especially threatens to expose vampires to the public, that they are gotten rid of. She's also autistic, so I really like that aspect. Then for werewolf, I chose Nothing But the Wolf in Me by Nikki Clark. This is from a series by Nikki Clark of black werewolves, and I really enjoyed her Alien romance series, and I really enjoyed multiple from this series as well. Then for zombie, I want to recommend Dread Nation, which I have talked about a fair amount, but not for a little while because I read them quite a while ago. These are about some queer black people in the age of the Civil War, the American Civil War, but if there were zombies coming back from the dead of all the people who had been killed during that war. And black people are being forced onto the front lines to be fighting the zombies. Women specifically who are black are forced to be bodyguards for white women, and that's what's happening to our main character. Then for Ghost, I want to recommend Elatsoe, which is about a 17-year-old indigenous girl who can see ghosts. One of her extended family members is murdered. He comes to her and tells her who the killer is and asks her to get justice for him and his family, and specifically to protect his family because he believes that the murderer might come after them next. This main character is Ace. There's also Deep in Providence by Rhys M. Nielsen. This one is about some witches who contact the dead and also do some things that they probably shouldn't. For witch, warlock, or spellcaster, I picked Akata Witch by Nadia Korafor. This is the beginning of a trilogy, and I really enjoyed all of the books. I really enjoy the side characters, but also our main character and how she learns magic and finds a community when she had been excluded a lot prior. For fairy, I actually had a pretty hard time coming up with one. This is for fae, type, or fairy, whichever, and both are in the Fairyland series by Catherine and Valente. I super enjoy this series, and interestingly, in the first book you find out that the fae in Fairyland have been locked away by someone prior because they were evil, and now we have a new evil person in charge. And you get to explore from there. It's a lot of fun. For demon, I picked Sweet Surrender because this is a romance with a demon. I read this one pretty recently and really enjoyed it. I loved the overcoming of the trauma of the past and finding queer community, and also the romance itself. For Angel, another romance that also involves a demon, The Fall That Saved Us. First of all, this has a gorgeous cover, but also I really enjoyed the romance here, and once again the overcoming of trauma. And this is a forbidden romance, and it's two women. It's a lot about overcoming dogma and brainwashing that occurred as a child. For Alien, I picked Galaxy the Prettiest Star. This one I read for one of the trans rights readathons, and it is about our main character who has been hidden on Earth as a boy but is actually a lady alien, and through this delightful comic we get to find her, we get to see her express herself and learn more about herself and find some romance. For Superhuman, which I actually haven't read very many books with superhumans, but we have Stranger of the Change series. This one I read back in 2020, and I really need to finish the series because I think it's going to be really good. This is post-apocalyptic, and during the apocalypse, chemicals were released and various people got superpowers. And I really love a lot of post-apocalyptic stories, so I'm really excited to read more of these books. I wanted to do some honorable mentions because these are books that involve other types of creatures that are not these specific ones. So if you're someone who is interested in fantasy, horror, monster type creatures, you might like these books. One is Within These Wicked Walls, which is one about someone who cleanses homes and other places of ghosts, and she goes to this specific one she's been hired to do, and it is a haunted house that is cursed, and so the curse has many manifestations that she has to fight against, and meanwhile she's fallen in love with the owner of the house who has the curse passed down in his family. Trail of Lightning is about a monster hunter, also post-apocalyptic. This one's by Rebecca Rowanhorse. I just really love this main character. It's hard to define what exact traits go into her that I like so much, but she is one of my favorite main characters of all time. Then we have the Nightmare Verse, which has a few books in it, and once again I need to read the final book in this series, which I think has finally come out. There's a big gap between book 2 and book 3. The second book is A Dream So Dark, and these ones are kind of a Alice in Wonderland retelling, so we have a lot of characters from Alice in Wonderland that are sort of twisted and different, and given a different spin, and I really enjoyed the first 2 books, so I'm looking forward to the third. And there are lots of monsters in these that come out of the sort of Wonderland world, and our main character has to fight them. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If you'd like to leave an emoji, how about something black? And let me know what your favorite monster type creature is. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!